Welcome back to Don's Life. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining today. Today's episode is going to be about protecting your vehicle, but this time it's not going to be about the exterior. So we're not going to look at vinyl wraps, paint protection film, ceramic coating. We're going to look at protecting those valuable screens in your vehicle. That's why I'm excited to partner with SCREENPROTECH, who has provided us with a number of samples for both the GMC Sierra and the Cadillac Escalade, so we can demonstrate how this product works and the benefit to you. You think about how many times your screen gets touched in the vehicle. It's probably the most second to the steering wheel, so we want to protect it. Why wouldn't we? So this is the ultimate screen protection solution. Let's go. We all know it's a pain to crack or scratch your phone screen, so why wouldn't we treat our vehicles the same, which are just as vulnerable? And let's face it, our vehicles are much bigger investments than our phones, so why wouldn't we protect them just as much, if not more? And the best part is, once it's applied, not only is it going to protect the screen, but it's going to help reduce the visibility of any existing swirl marks or small scratches. So if you think of the importance of maintaining the value of your vehicle, this would be a great way to do that. Equally awesome, it's super easy to install, it's not going to inhibit the current clarity of your screen, and it's also going to help reduce those fingerprints. You're cleaning it much less often. So for those of you with convertibles, Jeeps, Broncos, something that allows a lot more sunlight in, you can even opt for a satin or matte finish version of these screen protectors to reduce glare. I have a small confession to make. I actually lied to you in the beginning of the video when I said we're only going to talk about the interiors. SCREENPROTECH does have another product that's to protect your pillars. If you've ever cleaned the glass on your vehicle and you get to this pillar area here, you've noticed that this plastic has a lot of swirl marks in it. You just can't avoid it. Well, you can if you look at getting their product to protect the pillars. SCREENPROTECH has a patented technology so that it's cut perfectly every time for a stealth fitment, so we don't detract from those good-looking interiors. And don't worry about impact resistance. These are screen protectors. They got you covered. So I'm done risking damaging my screens. Let's crack these open, see what we got, and take a closer look. So we'll start with opening this one. I don't really know which is which. See what's in here. We've got our application solution. Really, it's just soap. Just add water. That's going to help us apply the right amount of mist to the product, and then we can work out all those air bubbles as we apply it. We also have quite a bit in this package here. So this looks like it's for the Escalade. And the reason there's so much in here is because I've ordered the double quantity. In case we make mistakes, we can go ahead and try again. So that is an option at the checkout, that you can add a little extra material, which just doubles your order for less than the price of adding 2 orders. And then that way you can afford to make a mistake at least once on every panel because you have a backup. In here we have all of the screen protectors in the quantities. There's enough here to do the rear screens as well. That's why there's so much. And then we have our towel and our squeegee, which are going to come in handy during the installation. We're going to do this install just with the materials that we have here, so you know exactly how it's going to work without using any other products or cheats. So this one must be for the GMC Sierra. We've got our soap, we've got our towel and squeegee, and we have 2 gauge clusters and 2 infotainment screens. Let's start with the GMC Sierra, but even if you don't have a Cadillac Escalade, you might want to stick around just for the entertainment value, watching me struggle to put the film on those giant screens. All right, we filled up our little soap bottle, about 2/3, 3/4 full with warm water. We're just going to give the screen a bit of a clean here. So first we will get some spray going here, just get it primed up. There we go, we'll give it a wipe with the rag they give us, just to make sure we get those old fingerprints gone. I'm gonna use a little more because mine was pretty gross. Then we're going to do it again, but with the squeegee, just in case there's any dust particles in there. We don't want them to have any presence under the film. Now we're going to mist the screen, and then we're going to grab our film. Now I personally like to get my fingertips wet, so I'm not transferring any oils onto the screen when I peel it off. I'm just gotta find the edge here. There we got our edge. And my fingertips are still wet. We're gonna get the back of it nice and misty there. Then we're going to place it. Now we got it right where we want it. We're gonna use a little bit of mist on the outside here, just so our squeegee glides a little better. And then we can begin the process. Working from the middle outwards. See, putting a little mist on the screen itself helps it so as I'm squeegeeing, it's not going to slide around and drag the screen with the squeegee. We got it pretty good there. That wasn't too bad actually. Then we're going to wrap our towel around the squeegee and we're going to just work everything out in a bit of a clockwise motion. Make sure we're dragging any bubbles that may exist out of the film. We'll use the cloth all by itself to clean up any extra spray or residue. Just holding it down in the corners in case there's any extra liquid down there. So there's a few things I wanted to talk about that we haven't yet this far into the video. So this is not a PPF, like a paint protection film, so it's not gonna have that orange peely look. It's designed specifically for automotive electronic applications, so it's got that full clarity, and you also get the protection. Some pieces you receive may seem oversized. That's intentional. They're made to tuck in behind the bezel. So when you put them on, you may have to slide it around a bit and then get it tucked in behind that bezel area before you go and work through it with your squeegee. Now for the installation environment, you should have it about room temperature, around 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Have a good airflow. When I'm done, I'm gonna have the windows down just so it can air out a little better and start to go through the curing process. Also, you wanna make sure that whatever surface it's attaching to, that's also the correct temperature. You don't want it to be too cold and you don't want it to be too hot. And if you see any micro bubbles, any haziness, I got a little bit of haziness right here, that should disappear anywhere up to about 10 days, maybe longer. It's gonna vary on the install. So just playing with it so far, it's really nice and slick to touch. Helps keep down on those fingerprints. I'm not seeing any right now. And it should eventually look invisible, which is the whole point. Now this part's a little harder to film, so I'm gonna use this ring light and just kind of place it right there so we can see the gauge cluster. So let's just follow the same steps as before. We'll give it a little spray. We'll wipe it down with our rag. It's a lot more awkward to get in here. Get rid of any dust. Now it looks pretty good. We'll wet it again. Get our fingertips wet. Again, this is what I do, you don't have to. Now this one tucks underneath like I had said. So if you look here, we have it kind of floating and tucking in behind the bezel. You can see it pop out there. That's what we want because this is a little bit oversized. Once we get it where we want it, then we can spray it again and start squeegeeing it in place. And don't worry about a little bit of extra liquid. It's going to evaporate when you're all done. You'll notice I'm pressing more firmly as I get more of the liquid out, which is perfectly fine. You're not going to damage the film, but it'll help get those air bubbles out. Well, there we go. I think we did a good job. So now we just have to let it sit, and over time, any micro bubbles, any haziness will start to disappear. So let's leave the Sierra alone and go have a look at the Cadillac. Kind of scared. Now we're in the Escalade. I have to tell you, adequate lighting is essential. I've got a couple lamps going here. These are the rear screens in our 2022 Cadillac Escalade. I left the original film on there as long as I could, but the kids were begging for it to be taken off, which I did. And now you can see a dog nose print there, some fingerprints, just some stuff. So we're gonna clean it up, but this is a really good one for you to see the full process on how to do it. So we'll get both of these screens done, and then we'll do that crazy one up at the front, which is actually multiple screens. Let's go. Well, we're partway there. We got the back screens done. Now we have this big gauge cluster and surround screen, so all of this. But we're going to start with this little guy right here on the climate controls. And I can see, I don't know if it shows it on camera, some tiny, tiny swirl marks. There's one up there that really stands out. So after we put this on, after it sits for a number of days and completely gets rid of any micro air bubbles or haziness, then we should be fine. What's nice about this film too is it doesn't yellow like some paint protection films do. So you don't have to worry about over time this looking yellow and dull once it's applied. So here we are 4 days later, parked outside. All the air bubbles are gone. The fogginess or haziness is gone. The clarity is really, really good. I love the feel. No change in sensitivity. Really, really good. Let's go have a look at the Escalade. Okay, so 4 days later on the Escalade. Looking really good. Don't really see the swirl marks like before on the control panel either. Looks great. There we go, we got the installation completed. Our screens are now protected just like the exterior. If you want to pick yourself something up from SCREENPROTECH, I'll leave a link in the video description below. As well as you can use the promo code DonsLife to save yourself 5%. If you liked today's video, hit that like button. Please consider subscribing, and we'll talk to you next time.